In front of us are the two developers that are used within the gloss demi-permanent line. The developer to your far left in the orange bottle is called Gloss Developing Emulsion. The bottle on the right, the purple bottle, is called Gloss Developing Emulsion Long Lasting. The two developers within the gloss line are used for very specific applications of the demi-permanent color. We are going to start with the orange bottle, the Gloss Developing Emulsion. There would be two reasons within the gloss line that we would choose to use the Gloss Developing Emulsion, the orange bottle. One would be that we would be able to lighten natural hair up to one level with the use of the Gloss Developing Emulsion. Or secondarily, we would choose to use the Gloss Developing Emulsion if we were wanting to cover gray hair, which we have the option of doing within the gloss line. As you recall, gloss will cover gray hair up to 80%. The orange bottle, the Gloss Developing Emulsion, as you can see, is a 9-volume or 2.6% hydrogen peroxide. It gives beautiful, correct development of the color when mixed accordingly with the gloss color. And again, the two uses in the developing emulsion would be to lighten virgin hair or natural hair up to one level, or when we have gray hair to cover. Secondarily, we are going to review the Gloss Developing Emulsion Long Lasting, the purple bottle. It is a 6-volume or 1.9% hydrogen peroxide developer. We are going to choose the purple bottle, the Gloss Developing Emulsion Long Lasting, for all other avenues of work within the gloss line. So we are going to choose that developer when we want to refresh previously collage colored hair, when we want to tone highlights, when we want to color level on level or darker, when we want to color tone on tone. The Gloss Developing Emulsion Long Lasting will do just that. It will give us beautiful, long lasting, resilient color and results. The mixing ratios within the gloss color line are as follows. We will be using 1 part gloss color to 2 parts gloss developer. As we previously reviewed, each tube of gloss color is 60 milliliters or approximately 2 fluid ounces of color. To that, at a 1:2 ratio, we would be adding 120 milliliters or 4 fluid ounces of gloss developer of choice. So our mixing ratio will be 1 part color to 2 parts gloss developer. That mixing ratio will be true for either of the 2 gloss developers that we would use. We have many applications of use within the gloss line. We're going to discuss some of them and their appropriate timings. If we are using the gloss product for a tone-on-tone, level-on-level, or going darker scenario, we can apply the gloss color on clean, towel-dried hair. We also have the opportunity of applying it on clean, dry hair. The application for a first-time application for tone-on-tone, level-on-level, or making hair darker would be that we would utilize the gloss colorant from roots to ends, previously making an assessment of the hair's porosity, which we will discuss later on in the information segment. Then we would go ahead and process the color for a first-time application for between 20 and 30 minutes of exposure time. For a subsequent application, when the client would come back within the 4 to 6 week period, we would begin the root application first, and that would be for 10 to 20 minutes, depending on whether you are doing a 20 or 30-minute timing in total. And then we would emulsify the color through the mid-lengths and ends and refurbish the previously colored hair for the last 10 minutes of the color service. So tone on tone, level on level or darker, 20 to 30 minutes, applied on clean, towel-dried hair, or you have the option of applying it to clean, dry hair. Gloss can be used for gray coverage, and it will cover gray up to 80%. For your application on gray hair, the application must be on clean, dry hair. If it is a first-time application, we are going to apply from roots to ends. The processing time for gray hair coverage would be 40 minutes. You may place a plastic cap over the head during the processing time. You do not need to add any additional external heat during that processing time. For a subsequent application for gray coverage, which would mean when the client would return 4 to 6 weeks later, we would process on the root area for 30 minutes, and then we would emulsify the color through the mid-lengths and ends and refurbish the color for the last 10 minutes. As a reminder, it's important that you would be using the gloss developing emulsion, the orange bottle, the 9-volume developer, when you are mixing to cover gray hair. When we are doing an application to tone highlights, we will have some leeway in terms of use within the gloss line. If we are using the gloss colorant to tone and clarify highlights, possibly we have a bit too much yellow remaining in the hair and we wanted to revert to our color wheel or our color star and utilize a violet to neutralize that, the processing time for that would be somewhere around 5 minutes. Of course, that must be watched and not stepped away from. If we are just toning highlights where we want to impart a specific color tone and result, the processing time would be 15 minutes. If we are using the gloss colorant to refresh previously collaged hair, for example, if the client's natural hair versus her end color result is lighter, then we know we need to go to collage our permanent colors in order to do that. But in subsequent visits, we might have an opportunity to utilize the collage color on the virgin hair, the new growth, the retouch, and then if the previously colored collage hair needs to be refurbished, we would go to the gloss to be able to refresh the mid-lengths and ends. Important rule to remember is that when you are refreshing with gloss colorant, the universal refreshment time is 10 minutes. So for the collage colorant has a processing time of 30 minutes. It is my expectation that the last 10 minutes of that 30-minute processing time, the collage colorant could be applied to the midshaft and ends, and then allowed to process for the remaining 10 minutes, and then taken to the back bar and removed. So it's important to make a realization that it is best for the hair to refresh the previously colored hair with a demi-permanent product, as you do not need ammonia or high volumes of developer to refresh, and that you are not using any additional product or being wasteful of any product, because as you can see on the bottom of the screen, we can amply use half of a tube of collage color, which would be 30 milliliters. And although we haven't gotten to that, that is a 1 to 1.5 ratio. So that would be 45 milliliters of Collage Hydrox Developer. And then again, only use half a tube of the gloss colorant to refresh the mid-lengths and ends with the appropriate 60 milliliters of gloss developing emulsion. Whenever we are refreshing previously colored hair, we will always go to the purple bottle, the gloss developing emulsion long lasting, the 6-volume developer, in order to create beautifully refreshed color.